Hey guys, what is up? I am back with a PvP guide today. This will be part 1 of a new series that I'm launching, which will discuss Stargate in this matchup and how to react to everything you see. Because of Stargate on this new patch, PvP has become my best matchup, and I want to share some secrets with you of how I react to whatever I see to get me the win. I'm going to just jump right into this first game, and I'm going to be talking about our major game that we'll be playing, and that is Phoenix vs Phoenix. If you open Stargate and your opponent opens Stargate, more often than not you're going to play Phoenix vs Phoenix. So I'm going to be telling you what you need to scout for in the early game to get into Phoenix vs Phoenix and not die to like some Phoenix Stalker timing or random DTs. And then I'm going to tell you how to transition into the mid game and into the late game. So, as we see, this is a very standard opening, 2 gateways. I'm going to be opening with Stalker Sentry, and if you want to play the style, I highly recommend you do the same. The Sentry provides so much versatility with the hallucination buff. Essentially, because hallucination got buffed, your scouting will arrive across the map before you've committed to anything, which means Stargate is infinitely more powerful, because in the past Stargate was always the best tech if you knew what your opponent was doing. So that is why I'm going to be opening up with Stalker Sentry. Now let's take a look across the map, and what do I see and what do I need to see with my first probe. So far I've seen 2 pylons. I need to check to see if there's a third pylon. And the reason that is, if there's no third pylon, a proxy Stargate, proxy DTs is likely, and I need to search the map for it, okay? The next thing I'm looking for is what are his first 2 units. Now, if it's Stalker Sentry, we're just going to continue as planned with the build, and in this case, it will be Stalker Sentry. If it is 2 Stalkers or 2 Adepts, we need to play more defensive, and that means we'd want to add, 2 more Stalkers before we expand. Now, in this case, like I said, it's going to be Stalker Sentry from our opponent. And in those cases, you'll see what I do. It's a very smart trick that I learned off Neeb. I saw him doing it. But let me just talk briefly, just very quickly about the build order back at home. Now, after our Stalker Sentry, no more units out of our gateways because we saw Stalker Sentry. Add the Stargate and continue producing probes. Just keep up that probe production and go for a 32 Nexus. It is the most efficient way to base your economy. Now, like I said before, what did I do when I saw Stalker Sentry? I immediately send my own Stalker Sentry out on the map. And the reason this is it's so that my hallucination reaches my opponent's base quicker. If you open 2 Stalker and 2 Adept though, you can't do this because your Sentry and or Stalker might get picked off, right? So that's why you can only do it when your opponent goes Stalker Sentry. So, as our first Phoenix comes in, I'll just say that for all of the future videos up until this point is what our builds will look like, okay? Once our Phoenix reaches his base, it's the first divergence point. And in this game, what do we see? We see the Stargate producing Phoenix. That means we're going to get into a Phoenix war, baby. It also, importantly to note, sees that he's not producing a 3rd and 4th Stalker. This is important to note. If he's producing those, it means he probably wants to get aggressive and do a Stalker Phoenix timing. And against a 3rd and 4th unit, I would add a shield battery and some more Stalkers before adding my 2nd Stargate. But as we see, he hasn't produced anything. I'm not going to produce anything either, and I'm just going to start up my 2nd Stargate in just a moment. And because of this, we're now going to get into Phoenix Wars. It's not entirely certain that your opponent is going for a Phoenix War at this point, and that is why your 2nd hallucination scout with your Sentry is so important. As you can see, I'm going to start my 2nd Stargate. If we just take a quick look at what our opponent's doing in this game, he's also started his 2nd Stargate. In fact, Tesla in this game is slightly ahead of me in everything, in terms of building times, but I'm up 3 workers. That's because I prioritized chrono boosting out workers, and I'm going to prioritize that for the rest of the game. Your economy is so important in Phoenix vs Phoenix. It allows you to get your third base quicker, your fleet beacon quicker, gas in your third base quicker, and therefore, you know, just more Phoenix in the long run. So because of this, we're just going to continue producing Phoenix. For the most part, that's the basic setup. I should be adding 2 gases in this situation. I make a slight mistake. It's actually a change that I made recently. I found out that it's much better to add your 3rd and 4th gas at the same time in this exact situation. If you're up against a Phoenix Stalker pressure, or you know you had to produce a few more Stalkers, just go for the 3 gas and then get the 4th gas when it's done. So if we take a look back at our base, I'm just now going to talk about how we set up to deny his scout. So I've put Phoenix on the edge of my base, and we want to try and deny the scout of the 2nd Stargate with his 2nd hallucination. And the reason this is if he is in the dark, he needs to become aggressive, and when he's aggressive we can pick off units. Otherwise he's just gambling on me not going DTs. So he's actually going to get very aggressive anyway, and that's because, why was this? We forced a force field out of our opponent, so he sent across a hallucination Phoenix with his first squad, just to try and suss out whether or not I'm going to Stargate Phoenix. He almost gets this sentry, but wisely backs off. He could have very easily just lost the game at that point. And because he's getting aggressive, I do add a shield battery. That's just because I'm scared in this game. I will say I do make one other mistake in this game, and that's not sending my hallucination right now. You need to be sending this hallucination. Eventually I do send it, but it's going to be pretty late, and we're just sort of gambling at the moment on the fact that he's not going DTs or blink. So this 2nd scout is very important. I'm going to now just talk about what if you don't see 2 Stargate Phoenix. In those cases, if you see a Twilight Council, even if he's researching blink, very high likelihood that there's DTs coming. Add that robo immediately, and think about getting an Oracle. Even wall off your main base with a Pylon, or leave your units here. In this case I do see 2 Stargate eventually, so that's fine. I don't have to worry about any of that. But also, how do we then proceed once we've dealt with the DTs? Well, we're going to have a massive Phoenix advantage, first of all. So we can just go across the map and, you know, kill all his Phoenix and lift up all his probes, transition into a mortal charge slot Archon. That's our play going forward. Now, before my 3rd base, I had my fleet beacon, and then my 3rd base. I do cut probes around 18 on my natural on the minerals to get the 3rd base down as early as possible. And as we can see in this game, I'm up actually 4 workers, and that's just because of our early game and our chrono boosting of probes, even when I was producing Phoenix. So I'm just going to speed this up. We're going to get range, chrono boost that out. As our 3rd is getting nearer to completion, we're going to add gases before it's done, and transfer workers. As we can see, I am up a whole bunch of workers, 8 workers. That is a massive advantage. I can stay defensive in this case, and win in the long run. Once my 3rd base gets established, I want to be adding a 3rd Stargate. Continue probing. I add the 3rd Stargate now. And this would be also around about the time when I want to think about adding a 4th Stargate. So this is the setup for Phoenix in the mid game. Get your 3rd base, get your 6 gases going, get 3 Stargate, and add the 4th Stargate. From this point, transitioning into the late game, you want to add your mothership if the game is not done. In this game, Tesla jumps on top of us. Guardian Shield, remember, it's so important, it's so valuable. It makes Phoenix fights completely flip. You can, you know, win Phoenix fights even with a lower number of Phoenix if you have Guardian Shield. Just remember that. It is so important. But yeah, so then after my 4 Stargate getting Phoenix, once I'm on 4 base, which I try and take as quickly as I can as well, add a mothership. Now I just want to talk about one other thing that's been happening in this game, and that is getting vision with pylons on the map. If you don't do this, your opponent's going to have full map control, and he can sometimes like sneak his Phoenix around this side of the map, sneak in here, jump on top of your mineral line, kill a whole bunch of probes, recall out. You don't want that to happen. So I send my probe out that builds the third. I send that out, build pylons, all on this side of the map, and then on this side of the map as well. Just try and get as much vision as you can. Essentially cover it with a line. I would have liked to place, some pylons here, but his Phoenix denied that from me, unfortunately. Anyway, we're actually pretty far ahead in this game. Tesla took a few bad fights, and so we'll go on just to win this game. So I'll just play that in the background while I recap what we learned in this video. So in the early game, you need to be looking out for 3rd and 4th Stargate Stalkers, and that means a pressure is coming. With your second hallucination, you need to confirm that there's a second Stargate. If not, prepare for DTs. Okay? Continue to produce probes all the time. They're so valuable. Just produce. Get their economic advantage like I had in this game, and you're gonna end up really well. This game's about to come to an end. I have won the Phoenix vs Phoenix fight convincingly, and that just came about because of my economic advantage that forced him to be aggressive. Here we go, I jump on top. I now know that I've won, and Tesla will tap out. I will just say that once you win a Phoenix vs Phoenix fight, go sit on top of his Stargates, especially if you get a small lead, because he's going to have to try and contest you with a lower Phoenix number, or else his Phoenix will just continue to get picked off. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching part 1 of PvP Stargate play. Hope you enjoyed this build order. Stay tuned for part 2, hit that subscribe and get those alerts turned on. It will be about opening Oracle versus Twilight. So like I said, that hallucination goes in, we see Twilight, and we go, okay, we go Oracle, not Phoenix. Thank you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.